Well, I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over. And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
Russia has stepped up its attacks and secured significant gains around the frontline city of Siversk, tightening pressure on Ukrainian positions defending this sector. The Ukrainian open-source monitoring project DeepState reported on November 25 that Russian forces had advanced in the area, publicly revealing these gains and warning of a worsening situation for Kyiv's troops. Russian presence inside Siversk has increased, with forces now reported in parts of the city itself, including its southern neighborhoods and eastern outskirts, where they are probing Ukrainian lines. Siversk is a small city in Donetsk province, but it plays an outsized role in Ukraine's defense, acting as a key node in the broader effort to hold back Russian advances in the region. According to DeepState, Russia has been attacking Siversk using armored vehicles, motorcycles, and repeated waves of infantry, throwing multiple assault groups into the fight to wear down defenders. Siversk reportedly helps Ukraine shield the larger urban cluster of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, forming a protective barrier that slows or diverts Russian attempts to reach these major cities. Sloviansk and Kramatorsk together anchor Ukraine's defensive fortress belt in the Donetsk region, serving as the main strongholds from which Kyiv organizes and sustains its eastern defenses. If Russia consolidates its gains around Siversk, military observers warn it could begin to choke off Ukraine's defensive network there and open up new attack fronts deeper into Donetsk. Reports of Russian gains in Siversk have come just after a major missile and drone attack on Kyiv, underscoring how Moscow is combining pressure on the front lines with long-range strikes. Early in the morning on November 25, Ukraine's capital witnessed large-scale aerial attacks, with residents jolted awake by explosions and air raid sirens. The Russian aerial assault targeted both critical infrastructure and residential areas in Kyiv, striking power facilities while also hitting apartment blocks and civilian neighborhoods. According to the Kyiv Independent, the Russian military used attack drones together with Kinjal hypersonic missiles, creating a complex barrage that tested Ukraine's air defenses. Ukraine's energy ministry described the strikes as a massive combined attack on energy infrastructure facilities, warning of renewed risks to electricity and heating supplies. The timing of the attack coincided with Ukraine's ongoing peace negotiations with US officials in Geneva, highlighting the stark contrast between battlefield escalation and diplomatic talks. Negotiators have now returned from Geneva, and President Volodymyr Zelensky is expected to meet next with President Trump to discuss the latest version of the proposed peace framework. On November 25, Trump appeared to extend his earlier November 27 deadline for Ukraine to agree to his draft deal, signaling a more flexible timeline as revisions continue.
Have a new deadline?
Well, I don't have a deadline. You know what the deadline for me is? When it's over. And I think everybody's tired of fighting at this moment. They're losing too many people.
We're having Zelensky to come visit you?
We're having good, I don't know, he would like to come, but I think we should get a deal done first. We're having good talks. We started with Russia. We're having some talks with Russia. Ukraine is doing well. I think they're pretty happy about it. They'd like to see it end. And we won't know for a little while, but we're making progress. Well, that was just a map. All that was is a map. That was not a plan. It was a concept. And from there, they've taken each one of the 28 points, and then you got down to 22 points. A lot of them were solved, and actually very favorably solved. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that Ukraine was being asked to give too much land back to Russia? I know at one point you said they shouldn't have to give any back.
It's really up. Look. The way it's going, if you look, it's just moving in one direction. So eventually that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway. So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people? Or do you want to do something now? In some cases, the land is going in the other direction. So they're negotiating, they're trying to get it done. You want to have a border? You can't have a border that goes through a highway or border that goes through the middle of a town, so that doesn't work. So it's a long, complicated process, and very, very sad because so many people have been killed.
What's the next step?
They're going to keep talking. They're talking to Russia now. Steve Witkoff is going over, maybe with Jared. I'm not sure about Jared going, but he's involved in the process. Smart guy, and they're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
Next week in Moscow?
I think so. This war could go on for years, and Russia's got a lot more people, got a lot more soldiers, you know. So I think if Ukraine can make a deal, it's a good thing. I think it's great for both. Frankly, I think it's great for both. But Ukraine's got it's much smaller. It's a much smaller group of people. They've lost a lot of people. Russia's lost a lot of people, but Russia has a much bigger pool of people.
Meanwhile, Zelensky has reiterated that any major security decisions must involve not just the United States and Russia, but also Ukraine and its European partners, insisting that Kiev's sovereignty cannot be bargained away without its full consent.
Thank you so much, dear friends, Emmanuel, Kira, Friedrich, Marco, Mr. Secretary, and Antonio, Ursula, and of course all the leaders of the coalition. Truly appreciate that you all stand with us, with Ukraine, and that we are working together for our shared security. Right now, when it comes to security, there is nothing to divide between us, and there are no separate issues. Everything affects all of us, and everyone needs to be fully informed. We firmly believe security decisions about Ukraine must include Ukraine. That was our position in Geneva, and always security decisions about Europe must include Europe, and the same applies to Canada, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, other countries, and every nation. And this is simply fair, and it actually works, because when something is decided behind the back of the country or its people, there is always a high risk that it simply will not work. And we all believe that people should decide their own future, and this is in particular what sets us apart from regimes like the one in Moscow. So thank you all for moving forward together and staying coordinated and united. Friends, now we have a good result from Geneva, and from the meetings and talks that took place there, Ukraine has the framework developed by our teams in Geneva. That framework is on the table, and we are ready to move forward together with the United States of America, with personal engagement of President Trump, and with Europe, with leaders, and with all partners who have their strengths and capacity to help. And I'm ready to meet with President Trump, and there are sensitive points to discuss. We have them still, and we think that the presence of European leaders could be helpful. And let's discuss some key issues today in a closed format. But we must also not lose sight of reality. Russia's war against us is not in the past. It's happening every single day. Every day Russia takes Ukrainian lives. Just last night, thanks for warm words and the words of support from you, friends. So last night there was yet another massive attack on our country, so we cannot relax or forget that Ukraine still needs defense support, security support, support of our resilience every day. And as long as Russia has not taken real steps toward demobilization, real steps to shut down its war machine, steps that would clearly show that Russia is serious about ending this war of aggression, we do not have the right to stop working to support Ukraine, to support our people, and to support our collective security, and we do not have the right to demobilize ourselves. We must protect lives, strengthen air defense, and hold the front line, keep sanctions against Russia, finally channel frozen Russian assets to bolster Ukraine protection, and work out finally the doable framework for the deployment of the reassurance force Ukraine of the coalition of the willing by signing of a relevant memorandum of understanding. Please let us keep working at 100% for security as we have before. And thanks so much.